We are live here today, live to talk about virtual events, cash infusion days, and lots of cool stuff like that. How are you doing?
Live from the fabulous Las Vegas, Nevada, United States of America. Yet another weird destination. Well, not weird, but unique, memorable.
Yeah,
No lightning in the background over the Taj Mahal this time. So
right.
we've
Sorry to
made,
disappoint everybody.
yeah. I can only create that once in a lifetime, as it turns out. And
Absolutely.
but we've recovered from the jet lag, which is brutal coming from that side of the planet and the time zone, and we've settled into temporary life here in Las Vegas, and life is good. Life is good.
Nice, nice. Found home base for Infinite Impact Live, which is coming up on Wednesday for everybody who go to Infinite Impact Live and grab your spot. So today, everybody, if you're watching, I'm going to just ask a question. Like, how would you like to leverage the simplest, fastest way to create a flood of high ticket sales, and to do it only having to have Zoom and not having to be an expert speaker, not having to do sales calls, and not even have to have a big, huge audience? How would you guys like to do that? Would you like to learn a little bit about that? If you're watching, let us know. And if you are watching live, let us know. Replay, put that in there as well. But we're going to share, Laban, today, if it's okay with you. We'll just, why don't we just give them? The topic of this is exposed the truth about 6 and 7 figure virtual events. So how about if we just share with you all that are watching? Is it okay if we just give you like 8? I don't know, maybe 8 to 10. I don't know how many we have here. I got a list. We'll just go through them and have fun, but go through some things that you don't even have to worry about, and what most people have in their mind that are just incorrect beliefs, false beliefs around doing these 6 and 7 figure cash infusion days, like we're going to be sharing with people at Infinite Impact Live on Wednesday, the 31st. So go there and grab your ticket if you hadn't gotten it yet. So, Laban, is that all right with you if we do that? Is that going to be a fun thing to share with everybody? You think it'll be valuable?
Well, I know it's valuable, and you made me think of one other. Like, you don't even need a laptop. You need a smartphone with a Zoom app, and you can hold it in your hand or get a gimbal or one of those ring lights that holds the cell phone, and you can still pull this off.
Absolutely. I mean, we're talking, and here's the thing for those of you watching, you know how when you have a lot of these experts, gurus that come on and they'll tell you, you have to follow their exact system, and you got to do this, you got to have this kind of software, this kind of thing over here. You got to have, this complicated launch sequence and this, structure that's all built out in order to be successful. And you have to do challenges, which can be 5 days, 7 days, 21 days. I'm just here to say for each of you, it's okay, relax, just have fun, because you don't have to do any of that. And I'm going to share a story at the end that will give you a little more detail on that. But I want to share real quick a win just to give a little proof on that. I got a telegram yesterday from someone who came through our program previously and is still in the program, but came to the last event. Within around 30 days, Laban, someone who came through this and installed the system that we're going to share with you all at Infinite Impact Live, was basically had never even done Facebook Lives, didn't like going live, was really terrified about it, stepped out of the comfort zone, followed this simple structure. And I get a message yesterday, and they closed 80% of their sales calls from applications. They had like a 60% application rate, and it looks like they're going to have 10 enrollees in their program from a virtual event. Being someone who was averse to funnels, technology, speaking, almost everything that you think of when you think you need to have a virtual event, they were sort of like, I just don't want to do any of that. But then when they came to our event, learned the system, joined us, so simple, so fun, so relaxing, and so fulfilling that that message just warmed my heart. And that's what we want to impart with each of you today, is just how it doesn't matter where you are in your journey right now. You can do these, right? You can do these and be very successful, right, Laban?
Well, yeah, I want to add one other thing because I know who it is, right? And they, because I don't want to give their identity away. They
Keeping it confidential here, yes.
are a self-described massive introvert, and she, damn,
That's okay. That's okay.
she,
No names, and we'll still be good.
she would always say, and she wouldn't mind me sharing this because this is public domain, but she always said to me, "I'm not an extrovert like you. I'm not an," and blah blah blah. And it's very hard for me to relate with someone who is an introvert because you want to try and empathize with them. But I mean, Evans, you're not exactly the biggest extrovert in the world. You kind of evolved and forced yourself to be who you are now. And I think she didn't compromise or change who she was when she ran the event. She leaned into that I don't know whether extrovert's the right word for it, but her measured way of communicating, and it resonated with the right people. So I just wanted to bring that up because I think that's really important.
Yeah, very, very key. So let's dive into these because I wanted to share that example first, just to give you guys a little social proof, right? You can do this no matter where you are. And so thanks for sharing that, Laban. So what do you know, and if you have any questions about, your beliefs around creating a cash infusion day from a virtual event, put them in the chat. If we miss them, if you're watching on the replay, I'll come back and answer them. You can tag me, you can tag Evans Putman and put them in the chat. But the number one question by far, and I imagine many of you are thinking this as well, is how am I going to get people to get there? I don't have a big audience, right? Well, imagine what it would look like if you didn't have to even worry about having a big audience. You didn't even have to worry about having your own podcast. You didn't have to worry about having your own like really successful YouTube channel. You didn't have to go on social media and post nonstop every day and go on TikTok and do these dances and all this stuff, right? In the hopes of getting people there. Why I share this, Laban, is we actually teach you how to leverage other people's audience, right? Their audience that they've already built trust with, and how to stand in the room with them, to borrow their ethos and their trust with that audience, to then bring people to your event, your perfect clients, your perfect attendees. And you're creating a win-win, not just for you, not just a win for yourself, but you're going in with the purpose of serving that other person, right? So generally, I can tell you this, Laban, because I know the next question many people are thinking, like, why would somebody want to do that? Well, here's a little tip. You're going to cut them a big fat check for doing that for you. But here's the other great part. You don't have to do that until people buy your tickets to your event. So it creates a win-win for everybody involved in it. And it's so easy in such a relaxed way to reach out to people, not DM-y, not spammy, not any of this stuff that you don't like doing. Those of you watching and listening to this, it's very relaxed, very serve first, very value oriented. You're going to add value, right? If you're going to add value, and if you're not, then I don't want you doing it.
Yeah.
Right. So it's similar to, and I know Laban, you say this a lot, like adding value to others is one of the keys to, you getting in the room with a lot of these big names that you have, right, as well with what you do.
Well, it's a fundamental law of the universe, reciprocity. I don't understand how it works. I don't know the mechanics of it, but I've seen it in action so many times that it's gone past any point of any mathematical probability that it's an accident. And when you think about a law of the universe, it can't be changed. It's like that's it. So here are these reoccurring themes around service, and you're not doing it for any outcome, but that is the outcome of the service. And it's just it's the path of least resistance. And, I mentioned to you, I got interviewed on a show the other day that has millions of downloads, like an audience with millions of people, where I've been spending 3 years trying to build my own podcast and YouTube channel and getting a few videos, deleted and stuff. It's like, oh, why would I invest so much effort into that now when I'm in my sweet spot, when I am able to be on these other shows? I don't get this anymore because I know my content. I know how to add value because it's ingrained in me now. And so it's an organic situation where you get invited onto rather than having to ask, which is even more powerful if you can.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so that's one. Let's go through these quick because we got to get through about 8 of them. You don't need a big audience. So you guys feeling better about this, knowing that you don't need to have your own super large audience? I mean, I could tell you for a fact the person that sent me that message that we were just sharing her story about does not have a big audience. And she did amazingly well, on track to get 10 new people into her program. I could live with a good day like that. That would make me happy as well. Here's the other thing. You don't need like hundreds or thousands of people to attend your event. How would you like to know how would it make you feel relaxed, a little bit more certain if you know you didn't have to get like 200 people to show up to your event for it to be a success? And I'll give you some real data here. Generally, Laban, what we teach in the process, we teach 20% of those that come to your event will buy your high ticket offer. Mm-hmm. So imagine what it would be like if you could get 20% of people to say yes to your thing without even having to do a sales call, right? How powerful is that, right? And so think about this. So we'll take math a little farther here. If you have 50 people come to your event, Laban, 50, right? That's it. That's a small number, right? Yeah. I mean, for those of you, you can easily get 50 if you get a couple of people that have a good audience, and and we'll show you how to do that really quickly. 50 people show up. You have a 10K offer, 20%. That is 5, 10. That's 10 times 10. That's $100,000 in a small virtual event, even just using your phone with Zoom, like Laban was sharing earlier, right? So how many of you would love that, right? 1 in 5 is incredible. I wish I could see who Facebook user is on my end. I can't see it. I can't see the name over there. If you want to share your name, feel free. But thank you for that. Yes, absolutely. So you don't need a large audience. You don't need a lot of attendees. For those of you, it's Chad. Chad, it's good to see you. You don't need complicated funnels. And I want to go, let me jump back. I skipped something, Laban. You don't need a large audience. I actually know someone who, I won't mention names again, doing a virtual event. I think it was between 13 and 15 people in attendance. 10 people bought a $10,000 offer. So even with just 13 people, you can have a 6-figure day. And I think one of the questions that's probably coming up with people too, I'm going to skip ahead a second because I mentioned it. You don't need sales calls. How many of you would feel better if you knew you didn't have to be great at sales to close these numbers? We're talking about 20% is not being great at sales, but you don't even need sales calls because the event does the selling for you, Laban, right? You've experienced many of these. They shift beliefs. They help people feel like they can do the thing they wish to do. They create transformation. When you're doing these, you're actually building such massive trust with your audience because this isn't some sort of high level 4-hour sales pitch, right? You're not doing that. You're going to give value. You're going to demonstrate you can help them by actually helping them. You're going to give them value, give them real results, give them real transformation. And when you do this, you've in essence created your ideal dream client, and you've helped them believe that they can do the thing they wish to do, and they're ready to enroll before you even, get to the end a lot of times, right? And it's amazing. You don't even have to have sales calls. You get people, you don't do a pitch, you don't do a big offer stack, you don't do any of that stuff that may feel, like sort of uneasy with you. It doesn't feel aligned with you. You just invite people to like, hey, is it okay if I share something with you? And usually they do what Laban's doing, right? Like, yes, absolutely. At this point, you'll see the chat light up. It'll be like, yes, please share, please share. And it's like, well, this is what I'm doing. Got this new thing going on. Wouldn't it be fun if you sort of hung out with me for a while and I helped you get this awesome result? Like create your first cash infusion day. Wouldn't that be really cool? Wouldn't it be fun to do it together so you could get there faster, easier? Well, just go grab a spot, fill out this quick application. There's like 3 questions on it. Your name and email address are 2 of them. So it's really easy. It's not a hard thing to fill out. We'll jump on a call, talk. If it's a good fit, we're good to go. Right? How easy is that? And it really is that easy. I mean, you could actually, that could be your invitation to a call right there. It could be that simple. So Laban, what do you feel like when you hear that you don't have to have sales calls? How does that make you feel?
Well, I love it. I realized that a while back that sales was an integral part of me existing on Earth, not dying from starvation. But what was so enlightening was learning that there's a way to be involved in the softest. So imagine the hardest core sales hawker that you might see when you're on holiday in Cancun in Mexico, right? And these guys and girls are brilliant at what they do, but it's like high pressure. Or the guys that are selling the shoe shining stuff in the malls in America here, that these guys are world class. But it's such a stressful way to earn a living. The way that the system, I don't even like calling it a system, the way that the psychology of this works is that it's the softest, most gentle, effortless sell that you don't even have to do. You're just making the invitation. And that way it takes any pressure on me or on you as the host of the event to get an outcome that may not be attainable, because the person can get it, and like the event or the outcome that they get will be their own outcome, even though they've been guided along the way. And I think that's, I don't know if I'm making sense here, but that's what I love about it the most, I think.
Yeah. I think I can, I'll share this. This is what I get from what you just said. There will be someone selling. The person who does the selling is the attendee. They're going to sell themselves, right? Because they are going to have a shift in belief. Imagine how easy it would be to enroll people into your high ticket programs, your services, your offers, if they actually self-identified and sold themselves on it before you even have a conversation. And that's the power of it, right? So no sales calls, no big audience, don't even have to have a huge group there of attendees. So we're just tearing down a lot of these false beliefs. I hope you guys are seeing this. This is what, unfortunately, a lot of people out there make you feel like you have to follow their system and do it their way to have like complicated tech, big audiences, this and that, because they want you to feel like you need them. And what I'm sharing with you, when you come to Infinite Impact Live, you don't need me. I know people that have come before. They didn't take the next step with me, but guess what they did do? They went out and did their own virtual events because they had the belief, and I gave them the roadmap in the virtual event itself on how to do it. And that's what we're going to do at Infinite Impact Live. So Laban, the next thing, I get this a lot of times too, right? I'm going to save one of these for a little bit later, but you don't need to be an expert speaker. Correct. How many of you, does that make you feel better knowing you don't have to be an expert speaker? You don't have to go to some speaker training and, get up on stages and practice and do all this stuff before you do one of these events. Can I share with you how simple it is, Laban? And we'll break this down in Infinite Impact Live, but we have one part of our system. It's called audience alchemy, right? The audience alchemy method. And there's 3 steps. If you can learn how to do 3 things in this virtual event, 1, 2, 3, you can shift beliefs. And guess who does the shifting? Once again, it's the attendee. They're telling you what they believe now. They're changing their identity of themselves in the event in real time. And then they're declaring that new identity. And so they totally shift for you. right? You don't have to convince, you don't have to trick, you don't have to manipulate. It's none of that. So does that make you all feel better that are listening to this? I hope it does, because we like to work with people that are aligned with what we talk about, right, Laban? We want people to be the type of person who has a purpose, who wants to help create transformation, who wants to change lives. And if that's you, this is perfect for you. So you don't have to be an expert speaker, and you don't have to be a manipulative speaker. You don't have to be somebody who's just rah-rah-rahing people with no real value. You sort of create a mix of everything together, but it's as simple as 3 steps, which makes it awesome, right? It's easy to learn. I mean, you talked about one of the most introverted people you know, and they just went out and crushed it following that simple step. And they're so excited to do the next one. They're already telling me, like, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to figure out this. I'm going to change this. It's like, it's fun. You will have fun.
I would just go back to what you were saying as well, Evan. I agree with the enjoyment component. But if you are anyone that has, and I wouldn't imagine anyone's made it this far through the live if they're not in congruence or energetically aligned, right? If you try and manipulate anything, that energy is picked up subconsciously and consciously by people in attendance, and it muddies and dirties the water. There's absolutely no need to try and manipulate. And the challenge happens when, particularly if you're under a lot of financial pressure and this is an event to try and generate income, you have to be very clean. A good friend of mine, Vanessa Brewers, who's a peak performance coach, she talks about having coaching enrollment conversations where the energy is very pure. And what she's referring to is not being tied to the outcome. You're there to serve, right? And I think that's really important. So I just wanted to add that.
Yes, absolutely. That's a great point. And you are, and that's what we impart in you during the event. And you'll actually, when you come to Infinite Impact Live and you join in and go through this process, you will feel that. You will shift that. And I can tell you from experience how many people have gone through, and at the end, they didn't join my program. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay if you come and you don't join the program. What I'm not okay with is if you come and you don't engage, right? And you don't step a little bit out of your comfort zone, and you don't show up with a beginner's mind, and you don't come ready to support others, encourage others, and help lift the energy of the room. But when you do that at the end, I can't tell you how many messages I've received from people who have just said, this has been the most transformative experience I've ever done. I took 23 pages of notes, but I've got shifts in beliefs. I feel like I can do the thing that I've never done before. And just being in this room has done that for me. That's the power of these events. So the last couple of things I want to cover, and then I want to give a quick wrap up with some real world example, is you don't need complicated funnels. You don't need a complicated strategy. You don't need months of preparation and planning and putting it all on the line for 3 months, hoping that this virtual event saves your business. You don't need any of that. What you do need is you need a Zoom room, right? And you need a few hours of time to do the event. And you generally need a couple days after the event to do these enrollment calls. I mean, how easy is that? Imagine what your business would look like if every month you just knew that one day you were going to come change some lives for a few hours. And then the next 2 days you were going to enroll people into your program. And that's 3. And generally, let's just say there's 30 days in the month, like for the sake here. So that's 27 days of serving your clients. Right? What an easy business model. Would you like a business model that is that simple and that consistent, and it allows you to know what you're going to do month after month after month? So it creates freedom. It allows you to build a business that is not, you are not beholden to. It doesn't own you, right? You can live it the way you want to. You can create a life outside of your business. You have the freedom that we've all wanted when we created a business as an entrepreneur and then ended up not having it, right? So it frees up all this time. You don't need to do like 4 or 5 virtual events just to get people to come to a in-person event at a low ticket, hoping that you get enough people to cover your expenses and then try to sell them something expensive there. You just do it all. We compress time, right? How many of you have heard that, wealth loves speed? So why are you spreading all this nonsense out and creating all this complication and complexity? And it's basically the third pillar of the infinite impact method is simplify, right? And Dr. Ben Hardy talks about this in the 10x is easier than 2x. You remove 80% and focus on the 20%. That's the rule that we're following with this. And it gives you freedom. It gives you simplicity. It gives you consistency. And it allows you to really serve your clients instead of constantly doing bad blind date discovery calls day in and day out, sucking your energy away, where you can't focus on the people that have already said, hey, I want to work with you, right? Because the way we've designed this whole system, Laban, and one thing that we haven't touched on is you don't even have to have a 10K, 15K, 20K offer right now. That's okay. If you show up and you have like a 1K, a 2K offer, we can make it more expensive. And I'm going to give you a simple hack for that. We may even do that in a live tomorrow. Is that okay with you if we give you like a little simple hack for how you can do this? But we call it the abundant offer. So how would you like an offer that was more of a collaboration between you and your ideal clients, and it also gave you renewals, referrals, and revenue partners in the terms in relationships with your clients? How easy would your business be then? Right. And that's part of the process that we help you install. So Laban, I know we've gone over a little bit of time, but real quick, I want to share with everybody, this is how I want to give a real world example. Is it okay if I just share with you guys how with a Zoom, not even any email follow-ups, any of that stuff, no email system, even with this, with a Zoom room, and that's it. Never, not even ever had ever done this before. I'm talking about myself here, by the way. So I'm gonna get a little vulnerable if that's okay with you guys. 2 weeks after learning this system, I did my first event, Laban. 2 weeks. I believe you came to my second event, so you didn't come to the first one, unfortunately, because you missed out on some good stuff. But there was some good stuff, and I'm going to tell you, I got proof. I got proof in a book. It was actually written about in this book, $1 Million Speaker, by Joseph Aaron and Eileen Wilder, amazing transformational speakers and entrepreneurs. So you don't have to believe my story here. You can read the book because it's in the story in the book, right? 2 weeks. I'm saying this once. First of all, I'm not saying this to impress anybody here. I'm saying this to impress upon you the simplicity, right? We're here to expose the truth around this, that it's not complex, it's simple, and you can do it fast. You can do it without experience. You can do it without a large audience. You can do it with a Zoom room and not even having a funnel. No sales funnel, just a Zoom room with registration, no email follow-up. I just got my VA to look at the list, and we would say, okay, here's all the people that said they're coming. Let's send them an email, right? It was that simple. So we didn't have any tech, none of that, Laban. I basically had just learned a few simple ways to speak to the audience, like what we share with our audience alchemy method. And I go into this event, just jumped out of the plane, had fun, right? Didn't even have an offer. Didn't even have an offer until after the event. Didn't have an application set up until I got to the morning of the event, because I'm like, hey, what if nobody shows up? Why am I building an application, right? Why am I building out my schedule? I did all that. I'm sharing this with y'all because you can do it step by step, really easy. Get to this event, dive in, just start speaking from the heart, start following a few simple frameworks like what we share with you at Infinite Impact Live. And the result during the event, one key moment that happened that's been documented and it's here for history, it's cemented in history, was I remember specifically there was a lady who was listening who had transitioned from laptop to phone and was in her car driving to get to wherever she needed to get, but she didn't want to leave the event. She got so excited because you will create the type of transformation that does this when you do your own events. the energy and the excitement and this shift in belief. Imagine if you could do that for somebody, and imagine if you could get them to pull over their car on the side of a busy highway. And imagine if you could get them to jump out of that car, and not just jump out of it, but imagine if you could get them to jump out running around in circles, screaming at the top of their lungs while still on Zoom. Right. And we're all experiencing this in this event while it's happening in real time, as well as many of the people on the highway that were going past her, I'm sure. Right. Imagine if you could create that kind of energetic shift in someone's belief, that you could allow them to do it. And it's documented. That's why when I told my friends and coaches around this, they put it in the book, and we documented the whole thing. And but here's the great thing I want to share with everybody. I did exactly what I'm telling you. I didn't use a big audience that I had. I didn't have a huge audience. I had a list, but it wasn't a huge list. I went to someone who had a big group, gave a presentation, and I would say probably 80% of the people that came were from that group. And we filled up the room. Now, it was not a 6-figure day, but that's okay. How many of you would be okay with like 58,000, not even really knowing what you're doing? And that's what we did the first time in 2 weeks, just sort of falling forward into this. And I want to impart that on you. It's not to impress you. Once again, it's to impress upon you how you can do this. You can do this. You can do this, but it's up to you. And the only way you're going to know that you can do this is if you come to Infinite Impact Live and learn the system and go through the process with it and watch the way I do it in that event, so you can then go do it yourself. And I guarantee you, if you come, you will have a shift in transformation and belief. You will believe that you can do this. And I won't even have to tell you that, because you will declare you can do this at some point during that event. I can almost guarantee that. So Laban, I hope we expose some of the truths and more of like the mistruths around virtual events, and imparted some truth in you, the listener, today, to make sure that you, whether you come or not, that's okay. We're doing the event anyway, right? Like you and I would show up if just one person, if Chad, like Chad, who's been in the chat, if Chad just came, we would serve him at a high level. And we would help shift some beliefs, and he'd probably shift some of our beliefs. But you don't have to come, but I want you to just believe and know that this is the fastest path to creating freedom and fulfillment in your business, right? Imagine with the uncertain times coming up, and with ad costs going up, and with so many things happening, being able to create, even if you just do it once a quarter, a big influx of cash to give you the space to remove the stress from the feast and famine mode that many of you go through day in and day out trying to get clients. If you could do that and have that freedom and have that sort of that non-stressful ability to serve others and to help grow your business from a place of higher energy, and have the cash coming in to be able to take care of, hiring some people so you can work on your business and not in it, it's well worth it. So please do come. You will love it. You will enjoy the event. You will love the process. You will love the system. I've not met many people that don't. And if you like connecting with people in a way that's authentic human connection to create clients, this is it. So Laban, I hope those of you that are watching, I hope Laban, I think we covered everything, and I hope they'll come and show up and enjoy the time with us.
Yeah, infiniteimpactlive.com. It will be a huge amount of fun. I'll be there helping facilitate a lot of the chat and making sure that the experience for the attendees is optimal as possible, and just supporting Evans in his journey. So it'll be the Evans Putman show, but more importantly, it'll be the you show. It'll be you having your own level of transformation, and come and check it out and do with the knowledge what you choose afterwards, is what I would say.
And I hadn't even gotten to like one of the other cool things that I forgot to share with everybody. I had boxes of this amazing book from my friend. I got it backwards, from Richie Norton, Anti-Time Management. And guess what I'm going to do for those of you that come and join the VIP? I'm going to gift you this book. I'm going to pay shipping. I'm going to send it to you. You just got to sign up for VIP, come there. And much of what we share and what you'll learn, a lot of the principles sort of align with this book because it's a life-altering book. And I want to gift that. I gift it to my clients. I want to gift it to you. That alone is worth the price of admission, but admission or a mission. And as Chad said over, whoever in the chat over there, it might be someone new. It is hard to find a better value than this. I can guarantee you we're gonna 100x, 1000x the cost of admittance, which is not much at all. So come to Infinite Impact Live, get your ticket. It's on May 31st. We're excited. Let's start June with a bang. We'll have you up within 30 days or less, creating your first virtual event, creating a cash infusion day. And who knows, it may be your first ever 6 or 7 figure day. How cool would that be? So hope to see you there.